If you've been following along, we should still be in the scene Chapter 7 Camera 01.max. If not, click on the Application button, open, navigate to the Chapter 7 subdirectory, and open the file Chapter 7 Camera 1.max. We've changed the focal length of the camera to establish a closer shot than we had before. Right now, our lens is set to 50 millimeters. Make sure your camera is selected. This can be done very easily in the left viewport. In the Modify panel, let's set our stock lens back to 24 millimeters by clicking on the 24 millimeter stock lens button. This zooms back out a little bit and gives us kind of a comfortable view of the scene. We get a chance to see a little bit of what's in our lab, but we're not too close to something that we're going to get attached to it. And we're not too far from anything that we're going to get detached from it. In order to change the angle of the camera from within the camera viewport, we're going to use a different tool. In the lower right hand side on the bottom row of the navigation tools, you'll find a tool called Orbit Camera. It's the second one in from the very right on the bottom and looks like Saturn. Go ahead and click on Orbit Camera. In the Camera 1 viewport, click and drag the mouse down and you'll rotate the camera up. Now the viewer is looming over the desk and not looking straight at it. They can now do whatever it is they want with the desk in that view. By moving the camera the way we did, we've changed the emotional impact of the scene. On the other hand, if we click and drag the mouse up, we will orbit the camera back down. You have to be careful not to come down too low, otherwise you'll go through the floor. Now we have a view of the table that's from a very low angle. If we want to get closer and look at the bottom of the desk even more, we can use the dolly option in the navigation toolbar to move the camera physically in. Then orbit the camera a little bit more by clicking on the Orbit button and dragging the mouse up in the camera viewport. Now we have a completely different effect. As the viewer, we no longer have a feeling of power or superiority in the scene. We're kind of looking like we're sitting or kneeling on the ground looking up at the table as if we need to reach for it and grab on it to pull ourselves up. We've now been put in a situation of being powerless. Changing the camera angle is not something that was just made up by somebody who developed 3ds Max. These are film techniques that date back to the very early days of movie production. It even goes back to the early days of painting and visual arts, where painters would very carefully choose the point of view that they were going to paint their subjects from in order to evoke an emotion from the viewer.